Teachers of Reddit. What is the most ridiculous thing you have heard parents say? Part 1. I have a few stories, but my favorite happened to a coworker. This girl didn't study and skipped most of the questions on a test. Mom came in to argue about her daughter's failing grade and said she should only be graded on the questions she did answer, so therefore should have scored 100 since the few she chose to answer were correct. This makes me wonder just how the parent got through school. Had an Asian kid that was acing everything, straight A's. I told his mother that I think he is a little bored. She puffed up and said, "I will go home and speak to him about that at once." You just killed a poor little Asian kid. Here's my favorite ridiculous parent story with a happy ending. Kid obviously forges signature of dad on a failed test. Teacher calls the kid out on it. Dad comes in and insists that it is in fact his signature. His little prince can't get in trouble after all. 2 weeks or so later, the dad comes into school outraged that he hasn't been informed of the big project, causing the little prince so much stress. "But you have been informed," says the teacher. "Here's the slip I sent home for all the parents, and that's your signature, right?" "Right," says Dad. Congratulations, he played himself. This is what happens when parents try to be friends instead of, well, parents. How dare you tell my child that there were people before God existed? We were studying ancient Egypt, and I mentioned that the priests that they were reading about had similar roles to their priests and pastors. They just weren't Christian, since Jesus hadn't been born and Christianity hadn't started yet. I reminded the parents that there were parts of the Bible that took place before Jesus' birth, in Egypt. Yep, so many people have not actually read the Bible who comment on it. My SO is 23 and just started recently as a high school English teacher. He's teaching summer school right now, and a parent asked if he could stop dressing so well or if there was an older teacher available, because his daughter won't stop talking about how handsome her teacher is. If your friend wants, I can write out a diet and activity plan that I've been working on for the last 23 years that is guaranteed to make him unattractive to women. It's not your job to teach my son lessons. I kid you not. I had to sit back for a moment to recover from reading that. At parents' evening. Don't worry about my daughter, she's thick. She only needs to cook and clean. How is my son doing? What I've always failed to understand is the women from that culture or background who spout that rhetoric. Don't you want more for your daughter than you have? Why are you so happy to tear her down and treat her like she's stupid, when you would probably hate to be treated like that yourself? For the taxes we pay, we expect our teachers to get our kids into any college we want. Got fired once because I gave a C to the daughter of the president of the school board. Kid deserved a D. Slacker wouldn't do anything. I like to think that she went on to flunk out of college. Parents' evening last year, year 10, so 14 or 15 years old. Told a woman that her son was doing really well in English and was very bright. She actually scoffed and said, "Really?" The boy was sat there too. I asked what he was thinking of doing when he left school, and he said he wanted to go to college to do A-levels. Kids at the school had ridiculously low aspirations, so this was music to my ears. His mother interjected and said, No, you're doing an apprenticeship. You're gonna be a plasterer like your dad." Now, I have no problem with kids taking the vocational path as opposed to the academic, but this kid had a chance, and he wanted to take it, but his own mom made him feel that there was no point. So sad. I honestly feel really bad for people with parents like that. Had a star athlete who was being recruited by Ivy League schools failing my English class. On top of his general poor academic performance, I also caught him cheating on a homework assignment which he vehemently denied. His mom scheduled a meeting with an administrator and proceeded to berate me and to accuse me of discriminating against student athletes. I was the pep club sponsor at the time. Then she said her son would never cheat. I pulled out his homework and proceeded to read one of his answers. I, as a 16-year-old girl. Mom then begins yelling at him, "You can't even cheat, right? What's wrong with you? How are you going to get into college if you can't cheat?" What is wrong with some of these parents? I admit I have cheated on a few exams, but I never got caught. I'm not proud of it though. In college, I had a pre-calculus professor who was terrible at teaching that most of the class would cheat on tests purely out of desperation. We couldn't complain because she had tenure. Although, I have never cheated on a homework assignment. By the way, getting caught cheating in high school is different than getting caught cheating in college. In college, the consequences are serious. Intellectual property is a real gray area in regard to blatant plagiarism. I remember my teacher caught a kid in our class who plagiarized an essay. As he was reading it, the teacher cut in and started reading something off the computer that was almost word for word what the kid wrote. Every single thing he handed in after that, the teacher checked. I remember him claiming to write a song for this one girl he liked. I didn't know it at the time, but it turned out to be a Beatles song. After Thanksgiving, but before Christmas, one mom said, "If you don't let my daughter sing Oh Holy Night for the Christmas show, I'll withdraw her and my son from the school, and you'll never again have such talent." Truth is, her daughter couldn't sing on pitch no matter what, and didn't even try because she had zero interest in it. This makes me so sad. I hate how parents force their passions and interests on their kids when the kids have zero interest in any of it. There's an episode of South Park that shows this, the one where the kids are on a baseball team that they couldn't care less about. This finally inspired me to make an account. Multiple times over the school year, she emailed me with something like, "My child has been coming home saying she has no homework in your class. I believe she should be having homework from your class every day. Can you please give her some homework?" 1. There was actually homework. 2. The kid was not turning in any homework that quarter. 3. The zeros were all reflected in the online grade report, which the parent apparently refused to read. Spanish class. Parent asked me to exempt her kid from speaking anything in Spanish, said it made her daughter uncomfortable to say anything in Spanish. Tell the mother listening to her makes you uncomfortable. At the end of each year, all the students' merits are tallied up, and the top 3 students get a prize. One of the parents was complaining about how unfair their child started so low every year. It was a lot harder for them to get to the top. The list starts alphabetized. Teacher. To be fair, today we will line up reverse alphabetical so everyone gets a chance to be first. Oblivious teacher never noticed that the change was never of benefit to those in the middle of the alphabet. When talking to a parent regarding behavioral issues, the parent said, "From 8 to 2, he's your problem, not mine." I wish school only lasted from 8 to 2 for me. My mother is a retired English teacher. Helicopter parents would regularly call to inquire about their kids' grades. That's confidential as per college policy. If you want to learn your child's grade, you're going to have to ask him or her. Parent. But I'm paying his or her tuition. Mom. It doesn't matter. Your child has a right to privacy. I can or will only discuss your child's grades with him or her. Parent. I'm calling the dean. Mom. By all means. Rinse and repeat over and over and over. Another one. Taught in an old, impoverished town. Father told me he would not allow his son to read poetry because it would make him gay. Yes, my child is misbehaving, throwing chairs, hitting other kids, etc., but you took his paper airplane in 2nd grade and scrunched it up, so this is really your own doing. I think the best thing to do is for you to help him make a new paper airplane and apologize. Then I'm sure he'll behave. The kid was in 6th grade at this point. That is just embarrassing. Not as bad as some, but when I was student teaching, a parent emailed saying to give his child a C. No reason, just give her a C. She was getting an F, and I couldn't believe the insanity of just saying what boiled down to C, now. I'd have wanted to make a special, crafty, sparkly C to give to the parent to give to their child on parent-teacher night. Here, I made this for your daughter. Here's another one. Kid wrote a perfect sentence in Spanish as an answer on a test. Unfortunately, it was copied verbatim from a worksheet that she had on the floor next to her. I asked her what that sentence meant, and she did not know. Of course she got no credit for it. Father was livid, said that she had memorized it and should get full credit for a good sentence. I responded that if she memorized it, then it was plagiarism. She had to write an original sentence. Dad was furious at me and made threats. I think you were too hard on the kid. I memorize every possible phrase I could ever need to use in conversation when I learn a foreign language. It's the simplest way. She didn't memorize it. She copied it from the worksheet that was at her feet, and the sentence was completely unrelated to the question on the test. Yes, memorizing phrases is a great strategy when learning a foreign language, but when you're in your 2nd year, you need to be able to compose a lot more than just an original sentence. Oh yeah, her behavior and aggression vary with the phases of the moon. Publicly threatened to kill me for unplugging her phone charger. She forgot to tell you the kid was a werewolf. My mom frequently is forced to let kids retake tests because they didn't do well on them. Not because the kids have any sort of problem, but because the parents complain that their genius somehow got a failing grade on a test, so the school just gives in and lets the kid redo it. That is ridiculous. I have failed tests in school occasionally, and my parents never did that. I don't get kids and parents today, and I'm 27 years old. Not me, but my girlfriend is a teacher. One of her students' parents admitted to allowing their second-grade child to watch Smurf porn. Their justification was that it was okay for the kid because it was just cartoon characters. And then she called child services, right? That sounds like there's something going on there. This isn't a case of forgot to turn the filter back on or forgot to clear the history. This is people knowing that their second-grade kid is watching porn. Corruption of a minor. Third-degree felony or first-degree misdemeanor. Either way, probably some prison time. Source, I googled it. Country! Rodeo! She was calling her kids over. She was sending her other two kids, Chevy and Tractor, to a different school then. I wasn't a teacher, but I was volunteering while in college to help a school district run a group field day. Me and another friend of mine were asked to sub in for a class versus class game of tug of war for first graders. One class had 6 less students. Of course, me and my friend ham it up, act like we're really struggling, etc. Afterwards, one of the parents of the kids from the team we were on just started shouting at us, telling us we should be ashamed for not trying our hardest and for faking. You didn't pull the kids who are a good deal younger and weaker than you to the ground, therefore risking my son or daughter's team's win. You should be ashamed. This is my son. His name is Dylan, but we calls him Dildo. Squiscar has a kid?